Baltimore has long been known as one of the deadliest cities in America. It's already seen 208 homicides this year, putting it on pace for its most murders ever. Some frustrated residents are now pushing for a 72-hour ceasefire they're calling Nobody Kill Anybody.
Y'all know about the Baltimore Ceasefire? You know about the Baltimore Ceasefire? There's a bunch of Baltimore residents trying to have 72 hours of no murder. It's this weekend, so it's August 4th through 6th.
A lifetime of no murder, not just 72
That's
hours.
right, yeah, absolutely. All the way,
Erricka Bridgeford is sick of the rising murder rate, but when her son told her this could be a record year, she got pissed off.
So we telling everybody to tell everybody.
She's part of a group that's calling for a weekend ceasefire.
A lot of people hear you saying, don't kill anybody for 72 hours, and say, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
I say you can't make a decision with whoever you roll with that you can't keep this 6-block radius from anything happening. Then like, what are you doing, right?
The slogan is simple, nobody kill anybody. But that's a tall order in Baltimore. The city's on track to hit 400 murders this year.
Murdered. Young lady murdered, and it's just like murdered.
Sean Young grew up in Baltimore's Sandtown neighborhood. Like a lot of people here, he finds out about homicides in the city via Instagram.
Do you ever open this thing up and see somebody you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I know at least once a month, you see one of your homeboys that's passed away. He's been murdered. Like, I don't know. It's sad, but it's reality. It's Baltimore. None of it makes sense when you look at it logically, just like the ceasefire. Okay, stop killing each other for a weekend. That does not make sense. To address people and say, okay, y'all killing each other. What's the issue? What can we do for y'all to actually try to fix this as opposed to just saying stop killing each other for the weekend?
Residents don't feel like the city's doing enough to address social and economic problems in the inner city. Then there's the fact that last year, more than half of all murders went unsolved. It's a cycle that can leave criminals emboldened and witnesses intimidated.
Why isn't anybody doing anything about the murders?
But we are.
Mayor Catherine Pugh has been in office for 7 months.
And they don't understand what has taken place already.
She inherited a police force that the Justice Department found to be poorly trained, racist, and prone to using excessive force.
We're focused on how we reduce violence in our city and what we must do as a community to reduce violence. Because this is not just a police issue, it's a community issue.
Do you think that this weekend, basically the ceasefire, is going to be successful?
Absolutely. I think the fact that people in the community have taken it upon themselves to say, we need this to stop. So to the extent that we continue to have those voices echo throughout our neighborhoods is success to me.
But part of the reason the community is calling for a ceasefire is because they don't think the Baltimore Police Department will protect them, especially in the last couple years.
His leg broken, y'all dragging him like that.
Baltimore's seen Freddie Gray die in the back of a police van, seen 2 recent videos showing officers allegedly planting drugs, and seen 7 officers get indicted for robbing civilians. But Baltimore Police Department spokesman TJ Smith says the media is ignoring the positive things the department is doing. And as for the ceasefire,
we're 1,000% supportive of the idea, the concept as a police department, but we're not on the front lines of this. We're there if they need us.
And so how does that work, though? Because I think, in a way, we're talking about reducing murders, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that y'all's job?
Yeah, it's everybody's job. Any community that thinks public safety is strictly law enforcement's job, they're probably a community that's failing at it.
A lot of people are saying, we don't trust the police to be involved.
Well, I think you can find people who say that, just like you can find a ton that'll say the opposite. We're not focused on the negative.
There is the demographic. Who's the demographic that we're talking about? 18, 30-year-old black males for the most part. And a lot of them are, the police come in and they say...
A lot of them aren't. That is a fallacy. That is a blanket statement to say the majority or a lot of 18 to 30-year-old black men don't trust the police.
I think there are some.
There are some. You're absolutely right. But to make it a blanket that the majority of them, I don't think there is proof positive that that's accurate if we go across the country.
Baltimore City Police Department isn't the best police department in America. Like, it's kind of a shame. Like, they rather chase guys on dirt bikes than chase down the guys out here killing people. You feel me?
AJ Elliott has spent his whole life in West Baltimore. He says he doesn't dislike all police. He just wishes they were better at their jobs.
So you expecting help from police?
No, not really. And like the citizens, we getting tired, man. So after a while, we're gonna have to take things into our own hands.
Ceasefire, peace signs up, put the gun down, ceasefire.
City officials might look at the ceasefire as a partnership, but a lot of citizens see it as the exact opposite, fixing their own community because the city won't help them. So even if the ceasefire is successful, some people will think it was despite the government and not because of it.
A lot of people say 72 hours, that's a Band-Aid.
Absolutely. You understand when you are on the front lines that everything you do in that moment is a Band-Aid. But I'm cool with people thinking that I'm naive and that this is stupid. I'm cool with that because I know that if I stopped and if all the other people in Baltimore who are doing the work, if they stopped, you would really see the murder rate go up. You would see how much these little Band-Aids that you call were actually doing something in this city.